We're mirroring the sort of policies that you've implemented in Britain. We're going down the same path, a big focus on renewables, lowering the energy reliability and then exposing us to costs with gas prices and the like, and a shortage of supply. But when you just talked about reducing energy usage, you hit on, it strikes me as another one of these great paradoxes when it comes to energy policy, because they're saying in order to get through this crisis, use less energy, don't heat your room through winter and the like. But at the same time, the same government is trying to force everyone to switch to electric cars. Where are they going to get the power for those?
Exactly. None of it makes any sense. But all the onus is on the individual, which usually I'm all for individual responsibility. But this is the government's shortcomings that's put us in this position in the first place. And what we should do is make sure that our countries are self-sufficient. And we've seen across Europe and across the West, actually, all these countries that are reliant on Russia for fuel, and from the Ukraine and areas around Eastern Europe that are getting stifled at the moment. Why are we not creating our own energy? In the UK, for example, we could be fracking. We should be fracking. There's a whole load of shale gas there ready to be tapped into. But the reason we're not doing so is because of Russian propaganda over the last couple of decades about how dangerous it is for earthquakes and such. It's all a nonsense. It's all scientifically disproved. But the fact that we're not doing it just, again, shows how little our government is acting in order to provide the fuel that we need as people.
And I notice so much of the media coverage in the UK, in Europe and in Australia focuses on Russia and Putin and what that's done to gas prices. And certainly that's a factor. I don't deny that. But obviously what's coming to roost here is decades of policy that's prioritised renewable intermittent power over the reliable sources like more gas and like nuclear.
Yeah, these arbitrary targets like net zero 2030 and green 2050, they pluck these numbers out of thin air. And actually all it does is it makes energy prices more expensive for the regular, hardworking individual at home. It doesn't do anything for governments. It does a lot for big business, as in all these renewables, all these wind farms that are being set up. It produces so much revenue for big business, but it's so harmful for the consumer. And what we need to do is drop these levies, drop these fuel levies, drop these green taxes. And if we look at how much of the levies coming to what we're paying, 40% of what we pay for energy goes towards these levies. If we get rid of these levies, it will make energy so much more affordable for the consumer. And that's what's important. If people cannot afford to heat their homes, we need to look at, is this green issue really that urgent? It might be important. I grant that some people think it's a climate crisis. I don't, but it might be important, but is it that urgent, as in it needs to stop people from heating their homes over winter? I don't think it will be.
Yeah, well, it's dire for people who can't afford their bills now, and as we all know, it's going to get a lot worse as the weather gets colder in Britain. Thanks so much for joining us, Calvin. I appreciate your time.
Anytime. God bless.